Are you oftentimes confused about product purchasing? Or maybe you believe that product manufacturers are missing the mark when it comes to satisfying your needs. Now, believe me, I get it. Before I became a hair scientist, I remember going to the beauty supply store and looking down long aisles of products, trying to find what worked for me specifically. Sometimes my purchase was based on recommendations from a friend or maybe even a professional, but oftentimes I would just read the product labels and try to match up what I believe I needed based on what the stated functionality of the product was. More often than not, I was very disappointed with the results. And when I listen to what consumers complain about now, nothing seems to have really changed. Not only are we not satisfied, but we're also just trying to find what works. And so after I started working in the cosmetic industry, I learned that finding what works is not always as easy. But there are always certain things about our hair that we should consider before purchasing. And that is what we are chatting about today with my good friend and research colleague, Angela Ellington. My name is Dr. Crystal Porter. I'm a hair scientist and owner of Main Insights, a company that conducts research and focuses on the hair needs of people from African descent. This platform is designed to elevate the Black hair care industry and empower consumers and hair professionals with education that talks about scientific research and matters that pertain to our unique hair needs and culture. I appreciate you being here today. Now, before Angela joins me, I'd like to know who is out there with us today. Let me know who you are and where you're watching from in the chat. Put a number one if you are a practitioner, put the number two if you are a consumer, and then if you are a researcher or scientist like me, put the number three. Also, be sure to like and share this broadcast. Now, if you are frustrated with the lack of information when it comes to caring for your hair, and you wasted a lot of time, money, and resources trying to figure things out on your own, then you are definitely in the right place. And that is why we have the Our Black Hair Matters movement. Now, if you have not checked things out already, I have some very useful resources in my hair assets page. And you can find documents on finding the right stylist, learning about the biggest mistakes that curlies make. I have children's themed, or I should say hair themed children's books, and a template for you to write letters to companies who do not have data to back up their claims. So you can go to, let me bring up the link here. You can go to, why don't I have it up? Oh, there it is. You can go to links.maininsights.com/info and you can get all of that information and more. Now, for those of you who may have joined late, my name is Dr. Crystal Porter, and welcome to the Our Black Hair Matters Lunchtime Chat. I am Dr. Crystal Porter, and I have with me a powerhouse in the cosmetics industry, and her name is Angela Ellington. She is a friend and colleague, and I am just honored to have her with me here today. Welcome, Angela.
Welcome. Good morning, Dr. Crystal.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, you helped me kick things off 2 years ago to the month when I first started this. And so it is a pleasure to have you back with me. I know that your time is valuable, and that's why it's taking you 2 years to get back on because I've been asking for a while. But I think that you have so much information to share. And so I want to first, before we dive in, actually give them background about who you are and what you've done. So I have your bio here. So Angela Deloach Ellington is a hair care scientist and founder of D&E Industries Inc., a research and innovation company that offers scientific support and product development services to individuals, beauty entrepreneurs, and cosmetic manufacturers. Research-driven and consumer-focused, Angela has spent over 3 decades of driving research and business success for global personal care companies and is recognized as an authority in the field of ethnic hair research and development. As an authority, she has been awarded several international and domestic patents in the field of hair care research. So now you know why her time is valuable and why she's such an asset for information as we, just continue to, what I say, elevate the hair care industry. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I want to dive in and I want to know from your perspective what ways people are confused and disappointed about the products that they purchase.
Great question. And I'm not surprised at all coming from someone with the background and experience that you have. Um, it is getting very, very challenging for consumers as it is for scientists. If we're totally honest, sometimes we're confused as well. But what individuals should look for is really the performance and the benefits. And I'm actually going to prioritize them. I'm going to say performance is the most important, and then the benefit is the gain from the performance. And so I always stated that performance, and I want to clarify the definition because I remember when I said this before, someone asked me, well, aren't they the same? I look at the performance and the benefits are one and the same. I say that they need to coexist, but they're not exactly the same. The performance is based on the process and the action of achieving the function. So, and I'm going to say instead of achieving, I'm going to say accomplishing. So it's more so the action or process of accomplishing a function. Okay, so what do you mean by function? In this particular case, it was much easier before the category just became so huge. Like we have a proliferation of products to choose from. I can remember a time, and I may be telling my age now, but I can remember a time, for instance, with the shampoo. With the exception of an anti-dandruff shampoo, we had two types of shampoo to choose from: clarifying or conditioning. That's it. The function there was very clear. For the clarifying, it's when you're looking for a deep cleansing shampoo. You expected your hair to feel pretty much naked because you were removing all of the product buildup from the hair. Conditioning shampoo surface, and us curly girls in black hair really appreciated it because we need, as you know, as the hair expert, we do need something on our hair. We need something there on the surface so that we won't get breakage, of course, with combing for friction. So we were happy when we saw conditioning shampoos. Even if we needed that deep cleansing, we would deep cleanse and then follow up with the conditioning shampoo. So we knew what we were going to obtain. So the performance was very, very clear. Now, with the benefit is actually the gain or the advantage from accomplishing a function. So you see why I put function first? Because you typically can't get the benefit unless you've gotten the function. Where it gets cloudy is that a lot of products now are named and described by the benefits. So I like to stay with the shampoo. Before we said deep cleansing shampoo, or your conditioning shampoo. Now we describe what the difference was there. Now can you imagine we have strengthening shampoos, hydrating shampoos, detox shampoos, all which are very relevant to where we are now. So I'm not by any means saying that the hair care industry shouldn't have evolved, because they should. Things have changed. We know the percentage of relaxer users are not the same as it was a decade ago. We know Black hair requires additional function, not functions, but benefits, and also different products to provide different functions based on our needs at that time. And our needs change. And I know you can speak to this as the way that you're wearing your hair now, your needs are different from when you were wearing your hair relaxed. And so I understand the importance of making certain that benefits are included in the product name or the description, but it puts more of accountability on the contract manufacturer to make certain that although they are inclusive of both, that they both are clearly defined. And I'm going to stop right there because I can continue to talk, and I know you do have more questions. As you stated, that this is a passion of both of ours, but I'm going to be a good guest, and I'm going to wait until you ask the next question. But you can tell me if you have any additional requests based on the information I just gave you.
Wow. Well, so I always enjoy having conversations with you because I think the power in diversity is not what people typically think about in terms of, race and culture. But I think diversity in thought is extremely important because I never thought about it the way that you put it. And I have to be honest, when you and I were talking about the title, I was like, what really are the differences between the two? So I'm glad that you went into depth and provided the examples that you provided, because I think people oftentimes are confused and they need this background information to get a little bit more clarity. I know that we're not going to solve all of the consumers' issues in this one segment, but I think it does provide us with a foundation of knowledge so that we can start thinking about how we can better choose products. So thank you for that.
Yes. And
Yeah. Go ahead.
And I know if I was a consumer, I said, okay, I understand the function and the benefit a little better now, hopefully. But still, how do I know when I'm picking up, a product? I've heard that question, a lot also. And I will continue to ask that consumer a little bit more about their concern. And a lot of times it's in their story. Like, for instance, they would say that for their styling, they were accustomed to using like a carbapole gel, that have styling polymers in there. And now they are using a styling product that's basically a conditioner that's using cationic polymers to kind of soften and kind of provide some definition. And they're disappointed in the results. And so it goes back to, you do know your hair better than anyone else. And that's hard for us as scientists to accept. But I mean, how your hair behaves to certain types of product. So I always say, if you know a type of technology that works best for you at that time, and I always emphasize at that time, because again, as we were speaking earlier, your needs do evolve also. They change. But if you do know what works best at that time, then you look for those type of products. You don't have to be the scientist, because we are very good now with reading ingredient labels. I love it that consumers are reading ingredient labels. So we have an idea of the type of ingredients that are associated with the type of products that are giving us the function. And then you want to look at those type of products that have the added benefit, like strengthening or frizz control, whatever you are in need of.
Yeah. Now, you were talking about carbomer polymers and gels and stuff like that. And so that, I think most people don't really know what that is, but with us being in the industry. And you said now we're using more cationic conditioners to try to achieve some of the same characteristics that we would get from that, and we're disappointed. So can you talk about the differences between the two?
Yes. So the main difference is a cationic polymer, its main objective is to soften and smooth the hair fiber. So
Mhm.
you would typically find cationic polymers in conditioners. Always conditioners for black hair going to have two type of cationics. They're going to have what we call the monoquats, and this is going to be more like your trimonium methosulfate or your trimonium chloride. Those are going to be the monoquats, and their main objective is to soften. The polymers are the film formers on the hair, and they're cationic, so they have a direct affinity to the anionic sites of hair, and that's going to be for smoothing. And those typically are going to be like your polyquaternium 10. Now we're seeing more use of the guar hydroxypropyl trimonium chloride, which is so interesting to me because I can tell you, and again, just throughout this conversation, I know I'll be telling my age, but I can tell you almost 30 years ago, we were using guar hydroxypropyl trimonium chloride and not using as much polyquaternium 10. So, like everything else in our life, it's a full circle. We recycle because now guar hydroxypropyl trimonium chloride is becoming more and more evident in conditioners as well as styling because of it's more of a natural, it's closer to a natural ingredient than polyquaternium 10. So we know that conditioners always have given us some form of definition because we shampoo, we condition, and then our hair feels soft. We see a slight loosening of our curls, and we're able to comb. So easy combing is always the key. When we were looking at anionic polymers, they are more so think of a resin. They're more of a resin type. We call them styling polymers. And they also coat the hair fiber, but their main objective has been more so related to holding that fiber in place, holding each of those strands in place so that you can claim, you can make benefit claims like long lasting hold. So there are two different functions between holding, which we call styling polymers, and softening, which we call the cationics. But they both can actually bring some fiber alignment or definition, I should say, be a better word, to black hair. So what ended up happening in with the conditioner category just begin to increase, significantly increase. I think increase is an understatement. And we all, as researchers, was wondering why. And of course, the timing is also parallel with the increase in natural hairstyles. But conditioners increased because people wanted another option than just products that provided, a high degree of hold. And so they realized that conditioner ingredients by soften will give you some of this definition. So that became an option. And that's great. But again, you know your hair better than even the formulator. As a formulator, I know that the objective is inclusion. Like diversity and inclusion is everything. So you have to give the consumers options.
Yeah.
Those who are not looking for the degree of hold, they're just looking for the finished style. And they may not even want their hair to feel crunchy or hard. Then a conditioner may work for them based on their curl type and their current condition of their hair. That's why I said based on the products that you're currently using, you know what works for you. Because there are some people with black hair, the conditioner provides all the definition that they really are seeking. For other individuals with black hair, they walk away disappointed because their hair is frizzy, they don't see any definition, and it just looks like a poop ball. So The options are there, but you have to become as intimate as you can with your hair and then seek professional advice from trained individuals like the team that you have in place, which I always applaud you regarding the research and initiative that you're taking, working with trichologists and stylists.
Yeah. Oh, that's a whole, so I could veer off and go into a whole nother direction with that, but I'm going to stay on course
Okay.
because I think a lot of consumers need to know, like, what should they be looking for when they turn over a product label, or they're looking at a product label. You've named you named some ingredients, but is there like some key words that they need to keep in mind, or when they want to decipher, okay, is this a benefit, or is this more geared towards performance? I want to hone in on making sure that there is a connection for those for the viewers who can say, okay, benefit is this, and the performance is that. So, what on the label should they be looking at?
I always say start, and I know we tend to start with the front because that's the name, and then they'll call out some ingredients.
Yep. Yep.
I always say it's extremely important to read the back panel because you want to know exactly what they're claiming the product to do. And for instance, if you know for your hair, detangling and smoothness is extremely important, like it is for most black hair. But then you see on the label that most of the emphasis is on softening the hair or even hydrating. And we know hydrating, moisturizing, softening is going to bring a certain degree or amount of detangling. But if you don't see that product specifically referencing easy combing or detangling, then you may be disappointed. Now, if you're looking for ingredients that detangles, it is film formers. Film formers help detangle. And we talked about polyquaternium 10. We talked about guar hydroxypropyl chloride. There's also a lot of use now, again, of xanthan gum, hydroxyactive cellulose,
Mm-hmm.
and even silicones. I know for some people, silicone is a bad word. It's not a bad word. For me,
Me
I'm
neither.
just, yes, so I'm just stating the type of film formers that you will see an ingredient that in a product, and therefore an ingredient list that would aid in detangling.
Yeah.
I have to be honest. I am not the one that thinks that the cosmetic manufacturers are not listening. They are listening to us, and they are listing on their copy, packaging copy, the actual performance and function of the product. I think what is happening that maybe could be modified is the benefits is what's really distinguishing one competitor products from another, and the focus and the emphasis tends to be more so on those things that appear to be exciting. What's exciting is the benefit, because when I'm thinking of benefit, you're thinking of strengthening, you're thinking more so of and now you have a full density, you and that's a benefit even to a shampoo. So you've got volume shampoo, which we always have volume shampoo, but before it was more so using or adding styling polymers to kind of give you a whole and appearance of thicker hair. Now there is an fluctuating of volumizing and density shampoos that have technologies that serve as a benefit. It has nothing to do with cleanse the hair, but it is a benefit as it has been substantiated by researchers and shown to increase hair density. So if I am an individual who have a challenge with hair density, as we all do at some point as we continue to age, and I see that information as a benefit, I'm likely to pick up that product and purchase it, even without going into depth as far as the other most important thing, which is the most important thing, it's the function. So that particular product may not say anything about easy combing on the shampoo. It may not say anything about smoothness, but it is going to say something about non-stripping. Non-stripping is different from easy combing. It just means that your hair is not going to feel naked. So I challenge and I ask the consumer to spend more time reading the actual function of the product, or spend just as much time reading the actual function of the product and comparing the ingredient list to other products of similar types that have given them the performance that they need, but in their opinion, not the benefit. Because you can have a product that can give you the performance, but it doesn't include specific ingredients that give you the actual benefit. And I always state ingredients that obviously have been proven and substantiated, proven to give you those benefits. And we always speak of ceramide, which we both know very well. I mean, that's been proven to cement the cuticles. We know black hair have an issue with absent cuticles or raised cuticle. That's not the function of the product. That's the benefit of that product having that ingredient in it. So the ingredient benefits that are substantiated are very clear. Where it gets cloudy is when the benefit comes from the formula itself, and the formula itself is responsible for the functioning. So like we said, hydrating, right? Hydrating is also a benefit, but that hydration a lot of times is not just coming from an ingredient, it's coming from all of the softening and cationic types of ingredients that's in the formula. And I said softening in addition to cationics because there are other type of ingredients like emollients. And let's be totally honest, even petrolatum and mineral, okay? They are lubricants and they actually do, provide softeners because they are very, very good lubricants. So there's other ingredients and natural oils. I mean, natural oils is also another type of softening. So it's not easy. I don't think it's going to be totally simplified, but I think it would help a lot if we prioritize the function, which is the performance, as key. Because if I'm looking for curl definition, and what attracted me was frizz control, but I use a product that didn't give me curl definition, I'm not going to have the fiber alignment that I need to have frizz control. So performance is first, benefit is a complement of that function of the product, which is the performance. And it can be ingredient driven or formula driven.
So it's a couple of things that come to mind. So as you're talking, I'm becoming like a little disappointed because I'm like, okay, we already have so many products in our cabinets, underneath our sink, in whatever other space that we can find to house our products. And what it's sounding like is we're just going to have to buy a lot of products so that we can satisfy our need. Because, of course, we all want, I mean, it would be ideal to have no more than two after you cleanse. After you're done cleansing and conditioning and you rinse out conditioner, it would be ideal just to have like two products that all I have to do is use two. Now, of course, it depends on the hair or that canvas that we're, starting with. And we also need to consider the end result that we want, because not everybody wants, like for me, I have to have a little bit of hold, but I have to set my hair. So some of it is just a process, me actually knowing what process works for my hair and technique. I mean, so there are so many other things that we need to consider, and I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But the one thing that you were saying in terms of, looking at what it is you want and considering your hair, all of that needs to be considered. But it sounds like I need a whole lot of different products if I do want softness, and I want shine, and I want curl definition, and I want, that frizz control. I mean, so it's a whole lot of stuff that we want.
No, it goes back again to knowing your hair. Just like you said, you know your process. You know the process that you're looking for. At the end of the day, you still want soft, manageable hair, right? I choose to wear my hair short, but I still want soft, manageable hair. So for me, I know that I'm not going to pick up a conditioner that doesn't emphasize, and it probably is not fair because I know to look for, but I just shared with the consumers, either trimonium methyl sulfite, trimonium chloride. I know I need a cationic polymer, so I know the ingredients to look for. I stop at the leave-in phase. I don't need a holding product because I'm using products that have cationic polymers. Mm-hmm. I'm also using proteins that have admitted to be film formers as well. And so I'm using a combination of film formers to give me the manageability and the softening I need. I always say, and I do believe most people do know what their hair needs as far as the end style. If you don't, that's why you always consult with a stylist or a trichologist or someone to help you with that process. I also don't think that's why people buy a proliferation of, have proliferation of products. I believe it's because, again, they're going after a benefit and not the function. And I think they have to go after both, but put the priority on the function. Mm-hmm. You also said in your process that you have to set your hair. So if you know that you have to set your hair, you're going to look for a product with those types of ingredients. And it may be a longer process for you or for someone, because I'm thinking you just enjoying that process because you would know the difference in these products. But I think a lot of times the process is lengthening because you're saying you need something to set your hair, but you're choosing products that's not their function. So again, you have to know your hair and know the desired performance based on the function and let the benefits complement
it. Yeah.
We're going to do this again. We're going to do this again for sure. This is only part one, as we said.
I was getting ready to say, I know we need to wrap it up, but I have a whole lot of questions based on what you just said. But the one thing that I do want to ask before we get things wrapped up is, do you think that there's something that product manufacturers can do to help the consumer to differentiate between benefits and why can't I think of the other one? Benefits and performance. Yes.
Performance, which I keep going back to function. Education. In this particular case, enhance education. Because we have to remember, cosmetic manufacturers, it's a huge challenge as they want to and they strive to be clear on performance. But because we have become such a benefit-driven category, benefits have to be front and center for someone to even take a look at your product. But I do think there's other opportunities to enhance education. And I think if it's not done within your infrastructure, it makes certain that you consult or align yourself with individuals who can help, clarify the performance of the function, and say it in a way that's relatable to the consumer. Because we know that's always been somewhat of a challenge to actually communicate the differences between various products as it relates to their performance slash function in a consumer friendly way. It doesn't help just to speak about the technology if you're not sharing it with them in a way that is a part of their hair talk. So it has to be relatable. And I'm by no means, in no way am I saying that cosmetic manufacturers are not doing that. I'm saying there's always an opportunity to enhance education to your consumers on how the product works. And there's always an opportunity to enhance the research and data to support the benefits that you are speaking of.
Mhm.
And I know you can talk a whole lot about that topic.
Yes, yes. Yeah. Anyone who has seen this Lunchtime Matters, I mean, Our Black Hair Matters lunchtime chat, know that that's what I'm really beating my drum for, there being more data and transparency. So, well, you know what? Whew. As you were talking, of course, I have all of the bullet points, but we are, like you said, this isn't the first one. Hopefully, we don't have to wait 2 years for the follow up. But I do understand you're busy, but we have to address this and talk more about this. So thank you so much for your time. But I want people to know, what services you provide and who do you serve?
Yes, and you kind of mentioned it earlier. You did a great job with the introduction. So I'm just going to reiterate that I am the owner and principal consultant of D&E Industries Inc. And I do service cosmetic manufacturers as well as beauty entrepreneurs in support of research, innovation, strategy, claim substantiation, and understanding the product development process. And so that's how I am contributing to or continue to contribute to the hair care industry. And I'm going to say cosmetic industry now because that also includes body care and some skin care. And I also mentor young college students who's interested in cosmetic science because, as you know, we
Yay.
do not, the representation is not where I think any of us would like it to be. And
Yeah.
there's an opportunity to grow, as you know, as you have the initiative also. So I think as we all continue to serve, which we're supposed to do, I believe that we will progress as it relates to product satisfaction and as well as representation in this industry of people with hair like
That's
ours.
awesome. So I am going to put up where people can reach you. It should be there up on the screen now. But I think that, mentoring is key. I have been very fortunate to connect with a number of young scientists, and it amazes me how people in high school are striving to become cosmetic scientists or cosmetic chemists because I had no clue as to what I wanted to do. But there are a lot of young people who are very passionate in this area. And I think because we are more seasoned, we can help them to navigate the system a little bit better. And when they're in their particular roles, to help them navigate even after joining some either corporation or small business. There have been a lot of different ways that people have joined the cosmetic industry. But yeah, kudos to you, and I think you may get a lot of people reaching out. So
Thank you. If not reaching out to me directly, I hope that they submit questions, and I am committed. As Dr. Crystal said, we are friends for some decades, and I will definitely make myself available to her, even if it's not live on the broadcast, but through answering the questions that are submitted to her.
yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate it. I am just going to say a few words before I sign off. Oh, but you know what? Before we do that, I just want to make sure that people can know what did you, just as a wrap up, really quick, 30 seconds. Like, what should people consider when buying products when it comes to performance and benefits? If you had to like rattle off three.
Well, you gave the answer to the question, because what people should know is to definitely understand the performance of the product.
Okay.
Primarily focus on the product. That's why I always say go back to the directions. Sometimes if they don't have a write up, the directions usually give you a better understanding as well, but they tend to speak a lot about the application process and the expected performance based on that product type. On the back of the panel, the front of the panel will always tell you what type of product it is, because they have to be compliant, and then it focuses the benefit. So read the copy so you have a better understanding of the function of the product, so you will not be disappointed. You decrease the risk. Now, nothing is 100% proof, fail proof, we know that, but it at least reduces the risk of you being disappointed. Secondly, if you're uncertain of your process and the condition of your hair, always reach out to a trained professional like a stylist or trichologist to help you understand and create a process that will work for you. And then thirdly, if you are a professional and you're doing DIY, then always consult with a trained professional, especially as it relates to claim substantiation. I think with stylists who are DIY, the biggest issue or challenge, I should say, has been with claim substantiation. And it is more so making certain that your claims are compliant. So those are kind of like the three takeaways. And the good thing is there's resources for everything that was said.
Okay, thanks again with that quick wrap up. And so, before I sign off officially, I just wanted to let people know that I am still looking for practitioners who use CBD based products. I am really trying to expand the research on that. Even if you want to and don't have a CBD based product, so just set up a time for us to chat. Then also, if you know someone who has natural hair and wants to cut it, and they have over 4 inches, I would actually love to have it for research purposes. So reach out if you know of someone or you are someone who wants to cut their hair. And I will put up my link again right there. That's how you can reach me at links.maininsights.com/info. And always remember that our Black hair matters, and take care and love your hair. Have a good one. Bye bye.